took a little bacon and we took a little beans and we caught the bloody British in a town in New Orleans. We fired our guns and the British kept coming. It was a nice
Europe had already been engaged in a war with Napoleon's France for nearly 10 years when the United States thought the time right to pluck the jewel of Canada from the crown of one of the mightiest powers on earth, Great Britain. 1812, the War on the Great Lakes Frontier, is a game that simulates the War of 1812, fought between the United States of America and the British Empire on the Great Lakes Frontier between the United States and Canada. This is a two-player game where either player commanding the land and the naval forces of the United States or Great Britain. The purpose of this video is to introduce the game 1812 War on the Great Lakes Frontiers to GMT for consideration to publish. Following the format suggested in the Inside GMT article of August 7th, 2014, we will look at these four items. The components, why is the game fun, is the game elegant, and is the designer a good fit. First, which is the components. The components for this game will be one rule book, 35 pages with the 12 font. So 35 pages in 12 font. One playbook, which includes the setup, the chronology, examples of play, strategy, hints, designer notes, sources, things like that. $312 double-sided counters. The United States, and Great Britain. There are also two naval unit charts, one U.S. naval unit chart, and one British naval unit chart. Additionally, one U.S. reinforcement schedule, double-sided. And one British reinforcement schedule, double-sided. Two player aid charts, double-sided. And two naval combat displays, one British, or combat displays, the land combat displays and the naval combat displays. One British and one U.S. The game will also include 220 cards broken down by years. There will be an 1812 deck broken down to U.S. and British, 1813 broken down U.S. British, 1814 U.S. and British, and each one has the standard operations and event. There are also some additional cards which are used for gameplay. The game also consists of two mounted 22 by 34 inch maps. The map will extend all the way from Cincinnati. This will be the Great Lakes Frontier, so it'll extend from Cincinnati all the way through Lake Erie, the Niagara Peninsula, Lake Ontario, through Montreal, and ending in Quebec over here. To the south is Albany. And of course Lake Champlain in this area right here. So it's two 22 by 34 inch maps. Next, why is the game fun? Well, for one, it's fought in America, and these are areas that are familiar with most players in America. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Albany, Quebec. Those are all places people know. It's primarily fought as a naval war surrounded by a land war. So there are about 33% or one-third of the pieces are naval units. There are 3 different oceans or 3 different seas to sail your naval units on. Lake Ontario, Lake Erie. There's also Lake Ontario or Lake Huron off to the side with Mackinac. And way on the other side is Lake Champlain. So you have 3 different areas to sail your ships. The ships are individual. Each one has been rated according to its size by hit point, armor class, and weapon type. What's the shadow? And weapon type. So each ship is rated different. It's truly a naval war surrounded by a land war. So it's slightly different. It's a really unique war. The map itself is a hybrid map. You can consider it a point-to-point map brought out in hexes. For instance, if you take a look at Pittsburgh, is right there. Erie is right here. You can consider them to be the squares connected by a line, although the lines have been broken down into hexes. So it allows for more variation in there. But it does force the armies into the traditional axis of advance while eliminating any flank marches to the sides. So you get what you get is a meaningful amount, limited amount of meaningful choices, basically. The unit density is small. Okay. But enough to provide enough fun. The combat system itself is interactive, where you line up your units literally in lines and then fire volleys or broadsides at each other. The Great Lakes frontier portion of the war was primarily a naval war, so it's a lot about the Navy. Is the game elegant? That's the next question. The system and subsystems have been streamlined from about 250 hours of play testing. The systems require only 1 8-sided except combat. That's where the 6s are used. Each land unit has 2 steps. They're all the same. And 1 measure of power. It's combat strength. The quality and quantity of troops have been netted down to that number, the combat strength. There are also leaders, as you can see right in there. Leaders, naval leaders and land leaders. The combat system itself has few die roll modifiers. There's not even a chart. It's a summation of dice and a couple die roll modifiers. There are only a handful of special rules to know. All the rules are written to be inclusive, intuitive, conditional, apply to all the units. Finally, is the designer a good fit? My name is Ken Reppel, and I've been gaming for about 35 years or so. I'm a mathematician. I teach math, and this is my first go at trying to publish a game, which I'm eager to do. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can contact me at the same address that I sent the email in at. It's KENREPEL @att.net. Thanks.